Hello, I'm Sheryl McCarthy of the City University of New York. Welcome to One to One. For more than 30 years, Harlem Stage has wowed audiences with its multicultural music, dance, and theater performances. From modern dancer choreographers like Bill T. Jones to writer Maya Angelou to Latin jazz phenomenon Tito Puente. Helping to shape the future of this institution and introduce an even broader scope of artistic programming to Harlem Stage's famed Gatehouse Theater is Monique Martin, the new director of programming at Harlem Stage. With an extensive background in the arts, she is writing the next act for Harlem's principal performing arts center. Welcome.
Thank you.
I have to admit, now I have heard about or been to a number of cultural venues in Harlem. The Harlem School of the Arts, the Schomburg Center, the Studio Museum, the Dance Theater of Harlem, the Classical Theater of Harlem, the Apollo Theater, events in Marcus Garvey Park, events at Aaron Davis Hall at City College, but I'm not familiar with Harlem Stage. So tell me about how long has Harlem Stage been around? What was the genesis of it? And some basics about it.
Harlem Stage has been around for about 30 years, a little over 30 years, and it started at Aaron Davis Hall. So you've been to Harlem Stage.
Okay.
It just was under a different name.
Okay.
And Aaron Davis Hall is part of the City College under CUNY and under City College and on the campus. So Harlem Stage existed in Aaron Davis Hall for about 30 years. And then they wanted to expand, and with all presenting organizations that are part of a university and a college, there's always the kind of tug of war in terms of space.
For the space.
Right. And the executive director, Patricia Cruz, looked across the street and there was this abandoned, what was used as a pumping station for water. It was part of the Croton Aqueduct.
Okay.
So there was a capital campaign in 2005, and the Gatehouse opened in 2007. So it was renamed and restructured as Harlem Stage at the Gatehouse.
Okay.
And so you actually have been to Harlem Stage, and I think a lot of people don't make that connection, that perhaps they have had experiences and attended performances at Aaron Davis Hall, which is part of the legacy of Harlem Stage.
Okay. Now, in this theater, how many people does it accommodate, the Gatehouse?
It accommodates about 200, depending on the configuration.
Right.
So it's a beautiful, restored space that is a flexible space. You can use it in different ways. You'd mentioned Bill T. Jones, who was the first artist that was commissioned for the Gatehouse, and he used the space almost like a runway where the audience was on both sides. So that's one of the unique aspects of Harlem Stage, is you can use it in any configuration.
And it's at 135th and Convent Avenue.
Yes.
Is the exact location.
Yes.
What would you say is the mission of Harlem Stage? As opposed to how is it different, say, from the Apollo Theater and what it does?
Right. I would say that one of the primary missions of Harlem Stage, it always has been and continues to be, is to nurture, commission, and incubate artists of color to create new work. Bill T. Jones is an example of that. He was the first commissioned artist in the Gatehouse. And the last artist...
Is that when he was just starting out, or?
This was in 2007 when the Gatehouse opened. Right. So he was already established, and to have him, but known as a downtown artist, really. And so for Bill T. Jones to have a relationship with Harlem Stage Uptown was quite extraordinary, and to be the first artist to open the Gatehouse. The last artist that premiered a work was Michelle Ndegoncello. And that work, Can I Get a Witness, which was based on one of James Baldwin's essays, premiered in December of 2016. So we're now looking at what is the next 10 years of Waterworks. What does that look like? Who are the artists? What kind of work are they creating? So I would say the nurturing and commissioning artists to create new work is one of the primary missions, and also presenting.
And the focus is the focus on artists of color?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. And what I'm looking to do is how do we frame and define what is an artist of color? Oftentimes that is African American. It depends on what culture you're from. How do you define that? Harlem has a long history of West African residents, so the opening program for this fall season is a company from Burkina Faso. So we're looking at what is an artist that may be second or third generation Senegalese that is based in Paris and has moved to New York, or what is an artist from South America or from the Caribbean and Africa. So we're really looking to broaden the lens and look globally of what an artist of color. And artists are also collaborating across the globe. So we want to also invite that and support those kinds of collaborations.
I was reading over your fall 2017 schedule, which seems very eclectic. So let's talk about some of the aspects of the program. If we're looking at the music area, a collaboration with the Manhattan School of Music, Monk Mania. Tell me about that.
Thelonious Monk on October 21st would have been his 100th birthday. So we're celebrating the centennial of Thelonious Monk. We have a partnership with Manhattan School of Music, and they are what started as them looking for space because they're going on under some renovation. We had a deeper conversation to look at how can we be more than just a facility where you present programs because your space is being renovated. How can we have a partnership? And that also was fueled by their new artistic director, which is Stefan Harris. So we're doing 3 programs this season, and we're looking to do even a deeper partnership as we move forward.
With the Manhattan School?
With Manhattan School of Music. So together we have co-curated the Monk Mania celebration, celebrating Thelonious Monk's and his legacy and his artistry. So the big band from Manhattan School of Music will be under the direction of John Beasley, who is really known as an expert on Thelonious Monk, and the special guest is Regina Carter.
Okay. Now there's something called and it's free, called the Carnegie Neighborhood Concert. What's that all about?
Carnegie Hall partners with organizations and institutions across the 5 boroughs to present neighborhood concerts. They have a relationship, it's over 30 years that they've had this relationship with Harlem Stage, even when it was at Aaron Davis Hall. So this season is no exception, and we have 2 incredible artists. One this fall, Jasmine Horne, who is definitely on the rise as a vocalist. She uses her work and activism is a big part of what her message is. So she combines what we know as traditional jazz as a vocalist and also layers it with her activism.
So what's Carnegie Hall's part in it? Do they pay for part of it? What's their role in that collaboration?
They definitely bring those resources to the partnership. And so we have a conversation of what artists fit for our venue. I'm not sure how all the other venues work, if they take the roster, because Carnegie Hall has a roster. And Jasmine Horne was someone that was on my radar and I wanted to work with. So I presented at the Carnegie Hall. They were excited about her and decided this is the artist that we will be presenting for the 2 concerts. Yeah.
Film. Tell me about your film program and what you have on tap for this fall.
Film, Harlem Stage has presented film in the past, and for whatever reason, for a number of reasons, it has kind of been reduced. And so I wanted to look at how can we present film that is on mission with our organization. So we have 2 films that we're presenting this season. One is a new first-time director, Anisia Usman, who is Rwandan born, Paris-based, and she also lives in Brooklyn as well. And the featured artist, who is also her partner, is Saul Williams, who is, a Brooklyn-born and a dynamic poet and a writer, DJ. So together they've created this film, and it's like a love story, travel log. And what's also fascinating is it's all shot on an iPhone. So I'm really excited about, how technology is allowing artists to create work that previously was cost prohibitive.
I saw a film, I don't know, was it called Tangerine? I can't remember.
I saw that too.
Yes, a film shot in LA, I think, entirely on the iPhone 6, and they attached some little scope that cost like $8, and it was amazing. It looked like a professional film. It was well done. It's amazing what the smartphones can do.
I think what the other wonderful aspect of using the iPhone, and I didn't know when I saw Tangerine until the end of the film that it was all shot on iPhone. I would have never suspected that. You're able to have intimate, almost like you're doing, like if you film something kind of on a slide, you're able to film without the big production of a crew and the boom and all of that attracts attention. So it's fascinating to see what artists are doing with that technology.
And it also opens up the area of movie making to a lot more people.
Absolutely.
Who can't afford all of the rigmarole.
Right.
And you have another film called Some Girls, or has it?
Yes, and Some Girls is a film that is directed by Raquel Cepeda. It looks at a group of young Latino girls who are having challenges, and so they work with self-esteem, they're working on identity and also their DNA. So they do a DNA test and they travel to Dominican Republic and learn about their history as a way to kind of bolster their who they are in the world and some of the challenges and struggles that they're going through. It's a beautifully shot film and has a wonderful message for young women.
Now, do these films air one time, several times? How does it work?
It's a one time, and we have for Saul's film, for the rather Anesia, Saul is in the film. That film will be followed by a conversation with the director, a moderated conversation, and the artist, and also Saul will be doing a performance, a DJ set and a poetry set. With Some Girls, there will be one of the social workers that worked with the young ladies that will also participate in a conversation, as well as the director and the producer. So you get a little bit of inside context of the making of the film and who the artists are and what some of the messaging is that you may not be aware of, and you get to talk to them and ask questions.
We're going to take a short break, then we'll be back with Monique Martin, the new director of programming for Harlem Stage, after this message. Welcome back to One to One. I'm Sheryl McCarthy of the City University of New York, and I'm talking with Monique Martin, the new director of programming at Harlem Stage. Let's look at some of your other programs. You have a spoken word event. Is that a competition?
No, it's not a competition. What it is, if you have ever attended or watched The Moth, it's similar to, I would say, it's The Moth meets slam poetry. So each storyteller has 5 minutes. It's theme-based, and you tell a story that has some resonance to who you are. So they're not necessarily artists, although artists participate as well, but it really allows the everyday person to tell their story and share their truth. The theme for our story slam is home. What does home mean to you? We have a 9-year-old storyteller, we have some millennials, we have some hipsters, we have some elders. So it really is a range, both in age and also in culture, that will be sharing their stories around home. So I'm really excited and interested to see what they bring forward.
Okay, and you have a dance series as well.
Yes, we have a dance series with a company from Burkina Faso who's performing with a live band. So we're really fortunate that we are part of a national tour with this company. And they're looking at some rigorous themes around corruption, around memory. It's called Declassified Memory, which looks at how we select what we remember, whether that's in your family, whether that's in your community, whether that's political memory. And it's told, it's an all-male company, and the choreographer, Olivier Topanga, wanted to have all men, because men are often, and I say this with all love, having 4 brothers, the testosterone that comes with men and how that plays out, whether it is in aggression, whether that's in love. So he wanted to have all men to really show brotherhood and show conflict and how you can work through that. So it's humorous, it's rigorous, it's beautiful. The dancers are extraordinary. It's modern dance, and it is referenced with traditional dance as well.
You have something called Waterworks?
Yes, Waterworks is our commissioning program, and that, as we talked about with Bill T. Jones and Michelle Ndegoncello, is what the Waterworks program is. And so we work with artists, whether sometimes they come to us and they say we have an idea, or sometimes we'll go to artists and say, do you have an idea? And we work with them. It is really contingent on the project, what it needs. Michelle's piece needed 2 years to develop, and we take the audience on that journey of the developmental process. So that can be a panel discussion, it can be an open rehearsal, it can be a conversation. And with the newest Waterworks artist, that we have, Tamar Kali, we're doing a special dinner. So it's going to be a dinner party with 10 folks at a table, and it's 50 people. It's limited to 50 people. Each table has a prompt, and they get to have an elegant meal and discuss some of the themes in the work, and then there's a panel discussion and a mini performance. So it allows the audience to go along the journey to the premiere, and that's what Waterworks is about.
Sounds like a lot of your work has a social, you're dealing with social issues.
It's the times that, it's the times that we live in. I think people want to kind of deconstruct and break apart what's going on, whether it's in the political arena, whether it's in social issues, that they could, arts have always been a tool for healing, a tool for investigation. It is used to disrupt the status quo. So Harlem Stage has always been known for that, and we continue allowing artists to use our space and share with us what's on their minds, and also reflect what's going on in the broader culture.
So who pays for all of this? Where does the funding for Harlem Stage come from in your productions?
The funding comes from wherever we can get it. We are always in fundraising mode, so it's a combination of private and public funding. We receive some of the traditional grants like DCA, Department of Cultural Affairs, and NISCA, as well as we have membership, so you can become a member of Harlem Stage. That's also, something that's similar to crowdfunding. Each individual can also contribute to the institution.
So the works that you commission, are these people paid for their work, or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So we set a budget for the work depending on what it needs. Some of the work is multimedia, or it's the current work, Demon Fruit Blues is the name of it. It looks at women in blues with Tamar Kali. That's a piece that is dance and music. So it's the first time this artist, Tamar Kali, who's a musician and a composer, has worked with a dance company. So that takes a bit more resources to develop that, and we make a commitment to the artist to see them through the end.
Now, you worked at Summer Stage for many
Yes.
years, and I have confessed that in all my years in New York, I have never seen a performance at Summer Stage.
Wow.
I always thought it was something for young white people, rock concerts, groups that I had never heard of. And when I first finally tried to get in, and this was for the Trevor Noah comedy
that was
thing,
packed
last year, I couldn't get in.
Yes.
It was packed. But Summer Stage is very eclectic. I think there was a group that did klezmer music with cantors, and are you trying to bring some of that eclecticness from Summer Stage to Harlem Stage, or how does your experience at Summer Stage inform what you're doing at Harlem Stage?
Definitely the programming that I did at Summer Stage and the artists that I presented are still part of my vision for what inspires and gets people excited. You mentioned that you had attended performances in Marcus Garvey Park. Summer Stage also programs there, so you might have attended the Charlie Parker Jazz Festival or other events, but didn't know that it was Summer Stage, because of course it's in Central Park, but the mission of Summer Stage is all 5 boroughs. So with Harlem Stage, the scale is something that I'm wrestling with, because Summer Stage is, that venue in Central Park is 5,000 capacity, and across the city, depending on the park, is up to 7,000 or 8,000. And Harlem Stage is this beautiful, intimate theater. So it takes a bit of thinking what artists that I presented at Summer Stage could also be presented at Harlem Stage. And that cannot be a one-off. It needs to be a run. So an artist can perform for a week or for 3 days. So that's the kind of thinking that I'm investigating now.
How do you find the artist who perform there?
I have an artist bank. I see artists that I'm thinking about. Some artists I have relationships with. Artists also come from a multitude of resources, whether it's a colleague or a friend that, oh, I saw this artist in Spain, or I saw this artist in Chicago. You have to get them on your radar. So it comes from a lot of places, but I will say I'm always looking for innovative and interesting artists. 2 weeks ago, I was on the subway, and there were 2 artists. That's one of the landscapes of performing arts, is on the subways.
Right.
And there were 2 artists. One played the trumpet, and the other was a vocalist, and they were singing Valerie, and it was beautiful. I mean, they sang it as a ballad. It was so beautiful. And when they came around with the hat, I gave my donation and my business card. Mm-hmm. So that might not be an artist that I present next season, but it's an artist that I want to keep on my radar.
Right.
So it could come from anywhere.
Right. So how did you get involved in the world of performing arts? Were you an artist, singer, actor yourself, and how'd you get into this business?
No, I have absolutely no performing talent. I thought at one point I would be an actress, and I learned very quickly that that was not my skill or my passion. I came to New York from California
to be an actress?
I did, even though I kind of knew that it wasn't for me, because I had tried it. I attended American Conservatory Theater in California after college. But I came here and worked as a stage manager. That was my big dream. So I worked as a stage manager on Broadway and off-Broadway tours, national tours, international tours. But I would say that my family really planted the seeds for the love of the arts. We attended every show that was touring that came through San Francisco, from The Wiz to Chorus Line to Dreamgirls, and we also attended performances in libraries. We went to Fisherman's Wharf and saw street performers. We went to concerts. My dad was an amateur musician, so we always had music in the house. And we would pack up the neighborhood kids and take them with us when we attended performances. So I had a love for the arts and an appreciation for the arts. And I think that's really important. And that is what we do at Harlem Stage, is introduce young people. That's another part of our mission as well, is our education program. We send teaching artists into the schools, our local schools, our partner schools, and we also bring them into Harlem Stage for all of the artists that perform.
They go to the schools to conduct classes or to perform, or what?
They do both. They do workshops. So we have a program where teaching artists are in one of our partner schools, A. Philip Randolph, for 6 months. So they begin in January all the way through the end of the school year. So it's one thing for the students to come to the theater and have a spectator experience, and they see the art and then they go back to their school. And it's another to really have an immersive experience where the teaching artists are talking to them about what they saw in a particular performance and what are the themes, and then what is their artistic expression to it.
Well, now that I know about Harlem Stage, I'm certainly going to travel up there and see some of your offerings. Are all of the performances done now in the Gatehouse no longer on City College? Are they all in the Gatehouse now?
We do about 90% of our programming in the Gatehouse, and we do our education performances and some of the bigger performances because the Aaron Davis Hall is a larger venue.
Right.
So some of the programs we do at Aaron Davis Hall, but primarily at the Gatehouse.
What's coming up next?
What's coming up next? We have our Declassified Memory, the company from Burkina Faso, and the Story Slam. We have the film coming up, and we also have a ballet class that Misty Copeland will be doing with our partners. You mentioned Harlem School of the Arts and Dance Theater of Harlem. So that's another thing that I'm looking to do.
Is that a master class?
It's a master class with students from those two schools, and there will be, following the master class, a conversation between Misty Copeland and Carmen de Lavalade that we moderated by Zeta Allen. So we are looking to find pathways to partner and collaborate with some of the wonderful institutions that are uptown as well.
Sounds really exciting.
I'm excited. I'm really excited. I've lived in Harlem for over 25 years and I've never worked in Harlem. So I'm looking, as I walk through the community, I see it through a different lens, and I'm quite thrilled to join the staff and get my imprint at Harlem Stage.
We're out of time. I want to thank Monique Martin for joining me today. For more on Harlem Stage, you can visit its website at harlemstage.org. For the City University of New York and One to One, I'm Sheryl McCarthy. If there are any people you'd like to hear from or topics you'd like us to explore, please let us know. You can write to me at CUNY TV, 365 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York, 10016, or you can go to the website at cuny.tv and click on Contact Us. I look forward to hearing from you.